I'm being honest, I never actually thought I'd get to see you again. In person. Face to face. I'm so used to seeing you on screens. Or from across the room. No, it dawned on me this morning as I was sitting up in my bed. I've completely forgotten what your voice sounds like. I mean, maybe I just hid the memory away of it in my mind somewhere. I mean, it's been 3 years. I think back to like the 4th of July or something when I would replay the tape of you in my mind. I would listen for your voice. I could see your lips move, and I remembered what you said. But it's just like I had muted you in my mind. That doesn't really make any sense. Doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I've been writing this speech in my head for like some moment. For this moment, and now that moment comes and I'm mute. So I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna speak my mind, no filter. I mean, what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna tell? Exactly. So, here we go. I never hated you. I still don't hate you. And I wanted to hate you so fucking badly. I wanted to hate you, but I don't. I hate what happened. I hate what you did. But I can't stay in that for too long or else I get stuck. And I think of it a little like quicksand. Like, one moment you're walking through the jungle, and then suddenly you're stuck. And you feel like you'll never be able to stop yourself from slowly sinking and sinking. And the faster that you move and try to deny that you're sinking, the faster you're going to start sinking. And before you know it, the quicksand has just engulfed you and you can't find your way out and now you're drowning. The only real way out of the quicksand is if you work your way out slowly, little by little, day after day. I mean, it's going to take a fucking minute, but by the end of it, you'll be able to get out of the next quicksand you fall into. I can get wrapped up in my metaphors sometimes. Kate would always make fun of me when we were little about how I'd create these philosophical dilemmas and weird problems. And she'd say, "You're 12 years old, for Christ's sake. You're too young for an existential crisis." She never completely felt like a sister to me. And I mean, the age gap helped with that. My parents will never admit it, but you don't end up with a sibling in college when you're in the 5th grade, you know? It just doesn't make any sense. I miss her. Every day for like a year, I would wake up and have the urge to call her. I mean, I never called her, especially not at 8 a.m., but I wanted to. Somehow it felt like hearing her voice would somehow fill the hole that her death left. She had this little lilt in her voice anytime she got really happy. And she would talk. I mean, she could talk. She'd just go on and on for like hours about something. I wouldn't be able to get a word in. I loved it. I think that's why I was always so quiet as a kid. Because I was always just listening. I know I said I didn't hate you. But I can't remember the first time that I ever disliked you. It was like Memorial Day or Labor Day or something. I don't know. It might have honestly just been a hot day in the middle of the summer. But you and Kate had just had Jackson. And I was home from college. You came over to swim. And this is the first time that I'd ever met Jackson. And I was holding him outside. And Kate was going on and on about something. And I don't know if it was just some mask off moment or if it was the fact that you just had a kid and there was a lack of sleep, but you looked at her. And you said you just run your mouth. That's all you do. You just run your mouth, and it's exhausting. And she laughed. And I looked at you. Like that was the first time that I was seeing you in my life, all over again. But this time, for who you really are. Deep down in your heart, who you are. And that moment stayed in my mind just simmering until my mom called and told me they were gone. I thought about calling you to see how you were doing, about your wife and kid vanishing. But I knew. I knew that people don't just disappear. I knew that the quicksand doesn't just eat you up. It takes a fucking minute for somebody to disappear. It takes years of repressed hatred and snide remarks for somebody to disappear and for the quicksand to just swallow you. And I watched my sister slowly sink. And I realized that I had to pull her out, even if there was no life left in her. I watched you on the news, begging, pleading to see your wife and son again. Your wife and son. That's what you said. Not Kate and Jackson, your wife and your son. And in that moment, I knew they were never just people to you. They were never real. They were just people. They were just your wife and your son. So I slashed your throat. Because all you do is run your mouth. I couldn't see myself in my own metaphor. All I saw was a tree branch to pull myself out as quickly as possible. But now you don't have to run your mouth. The image of a man with a dead wife and kid who got his throat slashed by his manic sister-in-law speaks loudly enough for itself. So now I just sit here, running my mouth.